Hi everyone, welcome back to my IGTV. So today I'm doing a morning skincare routine with a quick, realistic, practical makeup look which is geared more towards people who wear glasses. So I'm going to share a few of my tips and tricks with you on how you can sort of balance things out when you wear glasses, because what can happen is your eyes can look quite under shadow because they're set back, and they can look dull. Like I feel like my face tends to look quite dull when I've got glasses on. So let's get started. I haven't done anything to my skin today. It's about 9 o'clock now. I've had breakfast, I've done a bit of work, and I need to do my skincare. So I've been having some breakouts, and otherwise my skin's kind of combination dehydrated, so I'll be keeping those things into account when I do my skincare. Because I've used some anti-acne stuff, my skin's feeling just slightly dry, so I'm going to use a cleansing milk this morning. When you're cleansing in the morning, it doesn't need to be a double cleanse because you don't have makeup or sunscreen to wash off. So if your skin gets a bit dry or rough like mine, using just a cleansing milk or a very gentle face wash or even just a cleansing oil is quite nice and nourishing for the skin. Then I'm just going to use a damp washcloth to just gently wipe it clean. Okay, so my skin feels nice and clean now. Next step, I'm going to just add a little bit of hydration. I'm going to use my Daughter Earth Divine Floral Essence. This is a punch push water and I just love how it smells. What I don't like is the bump because I feel like it's quite harsh and intense. So you need to do this by keeping the bottle at a bit of a distance because it sprays out quite a lot with quite a lot of force. So now that I've got like a little bit of hydration, I'm going to go in with my eye cream. Lately I've been testing out the one by Dior, which I think is quite nice, but I won't say it's done anything crazy miraculous for me. I think the Sulvasu one I was using earlier was maybe a bit better, but what I do like is it's not heavy, so it doesn't like make my under eyes greasy. Like the texture it's quite nice. You must hydrate your under eye area if you're going to be wearing makeup, especially because I'm going to be putting on some concealer and a long wearing concealer. So without that emollient base, your makeup is going to make your under eyes look very, very dry. The under eyes don't have any sweat glands, so they are completely reliant on the product that you use for moisturizing. Coming on to serum, I've been using the Murad Environmental Shield. So this is a brightening serum. This has vitamin C and glycolic acid. If you notice the packaging, it's got two airless pumps. So the glycolic and the vitamin C is stored into two separate of these cylinders. It's very important because vitamin C is a pretty unstable ingredient, like it breaks down very quickly. So having this keeps, you know, the vitamin C intact. So I'm taking just a tiny amount. I use a tiny amount also because this is a very expensive serum and I want to make it last as long as I can. Moving on to the final step, and that's going to be moisturizer and sunscreen. Usually I don't recommend using moisturizers with a built-in sunscreen because you need to have a dedicated sunscreen in the summer especially. It's quite warm here in the UK compared to the winter, so my skin is not as dry anymore. That's why if you notice, I hadn't used any heavily hydrating products, just the essence with a little bit of the serum. But on quick mornings, I do like something which is a sunscreen with a built-in moisturizer, and this is a really nice one. The consistency is perfect for combination skin. The brand is called Episoft. This is something you can find in chemists and online on Nykaa as well. An SPF of 30, which is quite okay for the UK summer. So I'm going to take a generous bit. Don't be miserly with your sunscreen. That's the one product. If you don't do a nice layer, you're not really going to get the full protection. So you can see the consistency is quite nice. It's like a lotion and it's hydrating, so I've skipped the moisturizer. Now because the lighting is focused on my face, it's exaggerating the tone difference between my face and my neck. But I'm also sometimes a little lazy with how far I take my skincare, so there is actually a little bit of a tone difference. So I'm going to take some more, and I'm just going to use it on the neck and the chest. So with that, my skincare is done. Not to elaborate, something that I feel is practical for me. And now let's move on to the makeup. So I'm not really going to do like a full foundation or anything. I'm just going to use a concealer, and I want this to last because makeup does melt in the heat. I'm going to use the matte Pro Longwear Concealer. Now the reason I like this is firstly high coverage, and that means when something's got high coverage, you can actually use a smaller quantity, and that way your base will not look heavy. You won't have a thick layer of things. So I'm going to start with like a really tiny amount. And the second reason I like this, it's very long wearing. It doesn't melt off with sweat, heat, humidity. Sorry, it doesn't melt off with sweat, heat and humidity. With concealer, again, I'm not gonna use it everywhere. Very strategically, I'm gonna see where is it that my skin tone is uneven and needs brightening. I'm going to definitely focus on the under eye because I have moderate dark circles, and when you put on your glasses, the dark circles get a bit enhanced because the glasses cast a bit of a shadow. So it's quite important to just brighten up the under eye area if you want to look, you know, fresh, not tired. And if you want, you can take the concealer slightly on your lid as well if you have a lot of discoloration. So that was just a tiny amount, but it has definitely brightened up the area quite nicely. I'm gonna take a little bit more, and like I said, because this is nicely pigmented, you need just a very tiny bit. Like I've barely touched my brush with the concealer. Another thing, people with glasses, you might have this kind of hollow that I have, where you have most of the darkness. So you want to take your concealer sort of up here like that to brighten up this hollow here. And then you can do slightly in the under eye. Just kind of blending it down to the cheek. I'm not going to pick up more product. Whatever is left on the brush, I'm going to take on my lid. Now the under eyes don't have oil glands, but the lids, the eyelids do. So when you put like thick layer of something creamy like foundation, concealer, etc. on your lid, it will end up creasing because your lids produce oil. So I'm happy with that. It's not, you know, flawless, but we are talking about an everyday look which you can do quickly, which doesn't involve a lot of products, and that still looks, you know, quite natural. Now we're gonna work on the blemishes. Now for the blemishes, you can either go with a smaller brush than this, or you can just work with this. So I'm actually going to take a smaller brush, and this is the best way to conceal blemishes. Use a high coverage concealer, use it on a small brush, and then you just, you know, gently tap it on and around the spot. Okay, avoid blending it because then it's just going to dilute all the coverage. So you want to just gently tap it. This is all because of the mask. I've not been washing them as frequently as I should, and we're only just starting to come out of lockdown, so I'm going out more often, so I'm using my masks a little more often, and this is a good reminder that I need to wash my mask daily. A little bit on the right cheek as well. So here it's more of like a redness that is a bit distributed, so I am sort of gently blending it. I can also take my fingertip and use very light pressure. If you use harsh pressure, you'll end up just wiping off the product from your skin, and that's not what we want. Tiny bit on my finger, just gonna tap it. So the placement of concealer for everyone is going to be different. For me, it's been sort of the hollows, some blemishes. For someone else, suppose you might have a lot of redness around the nose. So in that case, you can place your concealer a little more over there. Someone may have some discoloration around the mouth, so you might want to do it there. And then I'm just going to take a little bit in the center of my forehead. It's just for some continuity, otherwise it looks like my forehead is disconnected from the rest of the face if I don't use any base here at all. I'm using a tiny bit on my nose because here I've got some capillaries that you can see. Looks a bit red. Gently tap on my cheeks. I think I could use a little bit more around here. So you see, I've used really a very small amount of product, but I've evened out my skin, so it doesn't look like I'm wearing a lot of makeup, but the skin looks just a little more even and a little, you know, a little brighter as well. Okay, so with that done, I'm not going to touch my eyebrows because I've got them shaped and tinted recently, and I think they look dark enough as it is. So I'm going to leave my brows just like that. I'm going to work on the eyes now. Now, of course, when you're wearing glasses, your eyes can also look a bit in shadow, just like your under eyes. And what you want to do is you want to give some good definition to your eyes. So you can do that either with like a crisp black eyeliner, but I find black is a little harsher, so I prefer browns. And also with liner, you might make mistakes if you're trying to do a wing. It's not really an everyday look, it's not quick, it takes time. So the look that works best for me is actually using like a brown or a plum kajal and smudging it along my upper and my lower lash lines. So this way it's not very, you know, very harsh, It's a bit diffused, a bit smudged, so it's quick. You don't have to be super neat. You can just do it really quickly if you're in a hurry. And it gives you sort of a dark definition to the shape of your eye, and that kind of draws attention to your eyes even though you're wearing glasses. So I'm going to be using the Colorbar, and this is the Just Smoky Kajal. I love this range. I love the brown, the turquoise, the blue from this range, and also the Marsala shade, which is more of a like a wine brown. It's a really beautiful alternative to a brown. It's got just a little bit of red in it. Going to just apply this along my upper lash line. The one thing you want to be careful of is you don't want any gaps between your liner and your lashes. So if you have folds or if you've got a bit of wrinkle, you can just use that. Avoid stretching your eye like that. It's not good for your skin. So just hold it up like that. Make sure there's no bits of skin that's peeking through. And then you can use your finger, you can use a cotton bud, or you can use a tiny brush. This is the shading brush from Real Techniques, and I'm just going to use that to slightly diffuse this liner. Okay, so I've smoked it out. It looks quite soft, but there's definitely a nice bit of definition with the liner. I'm gonna go along the waterline. If you want, you can go a bit thick with this because you're gonna be wearing glasses. There's kind of like a barrier between, you know, your eyes and the outside world, you could say. So you can go slightly thick because the glasses kind of dilute the eye makeup a little bit. The one thing you always want to make sure is this outer corner meets, like the kajal or liner that you're using here meets the upper, you know, the upper lash line. I also want to quickly show you the difference smudging makes. So when you just line your upper and your lower waterline and lash line, it actually makes your eye look smaller. But when you sort of smoke it out, firstly it looks nicer and it gives your eye a slightly wider look. So I'm just going to do the same thing, gently using my brush to diffuse that line. Now, the one problem I and a lot of other people face is that when you add mascara, it lengthens your lashes and then your lashes kind of touch the glass of your glasses. So what you want to do is you want to curl your lashes first. So instead of sitting like that, your lashes will get pushed upwards and they're not going to rub against your glasses. So make sure you've got a comfortable grip. Make sure the prongs are wide. Fit your lashes in between the two prongs. First, you do a little test to see that you're not pinching any skin between the two prongs. So eyes are done. I'm going to put my glasses back on. So you see, I mean, minus this light. I brightened up with concealer my under eyes, but even with that, the moment I put my glasses on, they'd start looking a bit more tired. And with defining the lash line, it's hard with this light because it's casting a reflection. But I hope you can see how doing that has really rimmed my eyes beautifully and given it a nice shape and definition. To finish the makeup, I'm going to keep it very, very simple. I'm going to use kind of like a nude pink lip gloss. This is the Kiko Hydra gloss number 21. It's one of my favorites. It looks really dark on the website when you go to buy it. Of course, if you're going to be wearing a mask right after this, don't use a gloss. I'm at home for the next couple of hours, so that's why I've used a gloss, because my lips were very dry. and I would like a little bit of color on the cheeks. I find using a blush which has a little bit of shimmer is actually a really nice idea, because you don't have to then use a highlighter separately, and it kind of saves time. I'm going to use this shade called Red Vino. It's by Milani, and it's one of their baked blushes. It looks like a crazy dark color here, but it looks really nice on the cheeks. With colors like this, what you want to do is just lightly touch your brush on the surface of the blush. So when I apply this, I'm going to use very gentle pressure, and that's the way you can kind of make sure that you don't have tons of color on. I find a blush that is in the pink color family or a peach color family just brightens up your complexion quite a bit. So like I said, like that sort of dullness I feel when I've got glasses on, the pink just helps in sort of perking up my complexion and making it look just a bit, you know, healthier. If you've gone overboard with your blush, you can always go back with your sponge and tap it, and it's going to remove some of the excess color. What I'll do is I'll use my concealer brush to very gently go over. I haven't used fresh product, whatever was left on the brush, just to very gently tone down the color a little bit. And I think with that, my look is complete. The one thing that I haven't used is a compact powder. I thought I was not going to need it because I was using a concealer which is quite matte finish, but I can see some shine here. So I'm just going to quickly get my compact and just finish this look off. I'm using the banana powder from K-Beauty. It's a really nice loose powder. I'm going to dip my brush into it, tap off the excess, and it's going to press it a little bit here. For me, my inner cheeks and the sides of my nose are the parts that get super oily. So I'm just doing it here. When you're wearing kajal, it's helpful to use a bit of powder under your eyes because it prevents your kajal from smudging and, you know, coming down too far on your under eyes. My chin just a little bit. So if you notice, I don't powder my entire face because I don't want a very dry look. Instead, I just use it sort of in the T-zone where my skin produces more oil. So I have mattified my T-zone using the K-Beauty banana powder, and that is my finished look. I know the video is going to be a bit long because I went into a detailed explanation of everything, but realistically this would take me about 10 minutes from skincare to makeup. So that's the final finished look in natural lighting. I'm standing close to a window. Even though it's really cloudy, there's no sunlight. I hope you found this video helpful for those of you who wear glasses, and for those who don't wear glasses, I hope there were a few tips in here that you can implement in your daily makeup and skincare routine. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you soon in my next video. Bye.